All right, hi everybody. Today we're going to look at volume of a rectangular prism. To my 5th grade math class out there, tomorrow we're going to be looking at word problems that involve volume. Now, our objective today is that I can solve word problems involving volume. And I've got a word problem over here, and notice we have two rectangular prisms. Remember, we looked at a cube, and the cube is basically a box that has the same sides. All the sides are the same. We're looking now at rectangular prisms, and you can see problems like this come up on an exam where you have two prisms and you have to figure out the volume of the whole. A volume, let's look at the volume. Volume equals length times width times height. Knowing that, we're looking at this problem, where do we start? So what's the length, what's the width, and where's the height? Well, they already give you the information, right? And notice that you have the M here. Now, whatever, which means meters, whatever they give you, use in your answer. So if they say inches, use inches. If they say cubic units, use cubic units in your answer. We're going to, let me put this in red. All right. To find the length, the width, and the height, we're going to say that this here is the length. I'm going to make that in red. Let's do that in red. I'm going to erase that real quick. We have a rather lopsided building here. Tried making it as straight as I could. All right, so this would be length. Length is always at the bottom. Width would be here. So we'll say width is here. And height, well, how high is the building? This is height. Now, if I were you, I would label everything. Why? Because it's easier to look at that way. If you label it, you will find the answer. So knowing that our volume is length times width times height, well, we need to look at multiplication. Let's look at the problem that they give you here. It says a school has two wings, each of which is a rectangular prism. Well, there we go. There's a prism. It's the box shape. The school district is planning to install air conditioning in the school and needs to know its volume. What is the volume of the school? Solve this problem any way you choose. All right, well, they've given us the information, right? So we see 50 meters here is the length, the height is 10 meters, and this is 50 meters as well on this side of the building. So let's call this the left wing, right? Well, I have to work one space at a time because this is clearly different from this building. So let's just work with this section here first. I'm going to write it exactly as I see it. I'll say volume equals the length times the width times the height. And I'm going to put the numbers in place of my equation because when I write it out, I'll be able to see it clearly. So let me do that. V volume equals, in this case, we're looking at this particular building, this left wing. So I'm going to write 50 meters times width. And then we got another 50 meters. So I'm going to write 50 here times height, which is the 10 meters. All right. So if you are able to do the math in your head, 5 times 5 is what? 25. And we got two zeros, right? So let's say this is 25 with 2 zeros, 2,500, right? Am I done yet? No, I still have to multiply by 10. So I'm going to go one step further. V equals, well, 25 times 1 is still 25. And now I got 3 zeros. So I'm going to do this in my head. 25, 0, 0, 0. All right. 25,000 what? Well, they give us the meters, right? So I'm going to say 25,000 meters. Am I done yet? No. Well, I got the volume for this. So let me just write. I'll write it in another color. I'll write it in pink here. All right. This is 25,000 meters. But I haven't figured out this building yet. Well, so now I got to figure out what this building is. And I can't exactly do the math in my head completely because I've got different numbers I'm working with here. But I'm going to use the same exact equation to figure out the capacity of this. Because volume, again, let me move this up a little higher so it's on par. Volume or capacity equals length times width times height. I got to figure it out for this building now too. This part of the building, the right wing, is got different numbers altogether. But I follow that simple equation. I'm gonna write it over here. Volume, let me draw a line. Okay, equals length times width times height, right? Length times width times height. Label, label, label. It always helps. You keep everything in order. You can see it. You know what you're dealing with. So volume for the right wing, let's call this building A, building number 1, and this is building number 2. And I could write the same thing over here and figure it out. Building number 1 and building number 2. In this case, the length is 75. So 75, oops, sorry there, times width, 57, times 14. The math has gotten a little bit more complicated. Well, I got to use my powers of multiplication. So I'm going to start with the bigger numbers. I'll start with the 75 because it's the length times the 57. I know I cannot do this in my head because I need to work it out. All right. If you remember multiplication, you put it on top of each other, right? 5 times 7 is 35. I'm going to bring the 5 down and I'm going to carry the 3. 7 times 7 is 49, 50, 51, 52. So I'm going to bring that down. 5 times 5. Now I'm looking at the second number. Remember, you got to bring it over and not write it in the same spot. 25. I'm going to bring the 5 down here. Let me cross out the 3 and bring up a 2. And here, 7 times 5, 35, plus 2 is 37. Now I got to add this. This is all by memory, right? Remember the multiplication. 7 times 5, 7 plus 5 here is 12. Bring up the 1. All right, I got 4,275, but I'm not done yet because I have this number here. Now remember, you have to show all your work. So let me take this space over here since it's too, I'm getting crowded over here, crowded. I'm going to multiply by 14 because I can't forget the height. All right, 5 times 4, 20. Bring the 2. 7 times 4, 28. Plus the 2 is the 30. 2 times 4, 8. Plus 3, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry. Here we go. 16. We've got plus 17. All right. Now, this is easy because all numbers times 1 is the same number. So 5 times 1, 7 times 1 is 7, 2 times 1 is 2, and 4 times 1 is 4. So we add this. 5, 8, 9, 5. All right. So now I got the volume of this particular building. 59,850 what? Meters. Don't forget that. You got to use the same unit that they give you. All right. So I'm going to write that in pink over here. 59,850 meters. Well, I got 2 separate numbers, but the people that are installing the air condition need to know what the entire volume of the building is, because they want to install the air conditioners. They want to make sure that the whole building is nicely air conditioned. So what do? I add these 2 numbers together to get the final. So let me do that. 25,000 plus 59,850. Well, we've got. Oh, I'm making this a hot mess. Excuse me. Fix that a little bit. All right. 5. Bring down the 8 because plus 0 is very easy, right? 9 plus 5, 14. And we got 8. So my answer has to equal that. If you're using, you don't want to just give the answer, the number in your response. Since it is a word problem, they would like you to answer in a complete sentence. So let me get my text here, and I'm going to answer this question in a complete sentence. You know what? Let me write it in a different color so you can see it. The volume of the building is 84,850 meters. All right, that is my answer. Let me bring it over here. This is my answer. So remember to answer your questions in complete sentences and figure out the volume. Remember, the volume is length times width times height. Tomorrow you're going to have several questions that involve volume, and they may give you 2 buildings or 2 prisms that you're working with, or they may give you 1, in which case it's easier. But always write out your work, show your work, show what you got, and remember to answer in complete sentences. I hope that helps you, and we'll be looking forward to tomorrow to see how you do. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing.